Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Independent City Council meeting. It's Tuesday, July 24th, 2018, and it's hot. It's hot outside. It's hot. And it's less hot in here, but it's not overly cool. And so we're all not wearing coats and ties today. So anyway, let the record show that councilors are here except Councilor Campos, who I think is en route. Council members, you have a couple of sets of minutes in front of you. Do they meet with your approval?
I move to approve the minutes from the special meeting on July 9th and the regular meeting on July 10th.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Visitor comment? I see no one stepping to the microphone. Thank you very much. Reports and presentations. Councilors, you've all, I think, had a chance to meet with Heather Gantz from Waldron. And I know that she's been meeting in town with folks, and to keep her on her schedule, they want to start putting out information to start letting potential candidates know that this position is open. And we want to take, she is going to give us the opportunity to look at what the announcement looks like. But here's the thing, I don't really want to call a special meeting. I don't really want to delay it to the next council meeting, so let me offer a couple suggestions. We can share that with all of you, and you can provide input back to Karen electronically. Or if you feel comfortable, you can just let me take a look at it. I don't see that this is going to be controversial in any way. Or you can just let me take a look at it and see if it makes okay, and we can keep that going. What is your pleasure?
How soon would we get that electronically? I mean, you should send it out tomorrow.
I don't know how quick you do this.
The calendar that she had for us by the end of the month.
Yeah. So
And then
next week.
And then they want to be on the road with the by August 6th is the current plan.
I would certainly turn it around pretty quickly myself, but I wouldn't mind glancing at it. Just,
Is everybody okay?
I'd like to know what it says.
Yes, I will.
That's fine. So let's, Karen, so you'll be the receptacle, and we're going to move promptly on that. And if you have comments, shoot them in, and I'll work with her, and we're going to get this moving forward. Sound good? Okay. Mr. City Manager, you have the next report.
I do. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. So a few things to report to you. So reaching back to the Independence Days Festival, I just wanted to let you know we did have, if you recall, we had some concerns regarding the vendor with respect to the Confederate flag. I'm not sure if I shared with this. I don't believe we've shared this since that time. That vendor wasn't ultimately evicted from the event, and not having to do with the sales. Just generally, there were some things that were going on between the vendor and the public that just rose to a level of concern that required that person's eviction. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in time we don't hear back, but at this point it's been fairly quiet. So share that with you. Had an opportunity to, and by the way, interrupt me or questions anytime as ever. Had an opportunity to sit with the museum board and museum staff in their retreat. Councilor Morton was there as well. I thought that was very well done. It was a facilitated event. They ended up with a drafted strategic plan that just got to us today. So I haven't had an opportunity to look at that, but I know they're setting up another meeting to review that. So I think they're taking charge. I think they're doing good work over there. So that's going on. We'll talk about this more in executive session, but I just want to get this on the record publicly. We do have tentative agreement on 2 of the collective bargaining agreements. That is between the Teamsters and the Police Association. The third bargaining agreement is on hiatus at the moment. There is a petition was filed to decertify that association. We received a petition from the members of the association asking that we do so. So we submitted that to the Employee Relations Board. We now have a notice up. That will be up for 14 days. And should they choose, if that goes by without concern, then it will be decertified and they'll become part of the non-represented, the balance of the non-represented employees. And so we view that as a plus. I think they saw the benefit of coming to the non-representatives. It was just a little bit of a historic anomaly that there was an association in the first place. It wasn't even really a record that it was ever certified properly. So anyway, that's what we have on that. We have submitted, per the deadline, in the category of Award for Excellence through the League of Cities this fall. So if you are going to that conference, please come to the evening of it on Friday, I believe it is, when they will announce those awards. Hopefully we will be standing at the podium. So, crossing our fingers on that one, but we thought we had a compelling story to tell. We gave them a lot of video, a lot of PowerPoints, a nice story, an independent study that was done, drafted recently. So it's just, we think there's a lot of 20 years of a great story that's all about independence from the mid-90s on that we tried to capitalize on. We will also, at the same event, we decided we'll go ahead and take a booth in the trade show. It's an opportunity to showcase the hotel and begin the marketing on that and get all the delegates from around the state familiar with that new offering in Independence, along with the event center downstairs, possible forum for a number of other conferences, smaller ones. So we want to get that word out. We think by going ahead and spending a little, small spend marketing dollars, we'll go ahead and have that booth and just talk about the hotel, talk about Independence. We haven't quite come up with the exact layout for that, but we know that's the general theme for that piece. And we'll have some of our staff there to support that, as hopefully, as well as volunteers for the development team. Work is proceeding at the old city hall. I think the roof, you've seen the roof work. The folks getting out the asbestos have been in there. They're anxious to move forward, so we expect that thing to continue apace. We have been talking with Charter Communications. So they got back with us and want to get their franchise updated and completed. So we're a little closer than we were. There's been some movement on that. That one's been stalled for a very long time, but I think we'll get there. Hopefully we'll get there. Be nice to put a wrap on that one. I was able to attend in support of Minot, the Dallas City Council meeting where they approved the granting of a franchise to Minot to operate in their community. I think there was by and large strong support for the expansion into that community. They obviously wanted to be sure that they were not subsidizing activities here, understandably, and that was the answer they received. So that it's truly an independent operation over there, and they will have its own set of books. So, but I think they're fairly excited to see that new offering in their community, and looking forward to it getting it going there. We do have a small veterans housing piece that was approved at our planning commission, so we were happy to see that happen. Strong support from the community at that. Councilor Wells, you were there, I wasn't, but I got the feedback. I was in Dallas at that time. But I think that was good to hear. There's strong support for that. I'm moving quickly, so if you, again, feel free to interrupt me if you have questions or again. If you've been by the hotel today, you will notice that part of the foundation was poured. The concrete's in on the part that is the most westerly half, and sometime towards the end of the week or the beginning of next week, they'll complete that foundation pour. And then you see a whole lot of lumber down there that's getting ready to start put the siding up, and it'll start going vertical. And I think people get pretty excited when you start seeing the walls go up and you get a better sense of the bulk of the facility. So that should be happening in short order. So we are still on track for an October deadline with Independence Riverfront Park improvements. You may be looking at a change order here coming in front of you, so give you a heads up now. Where the trail terminates at the northerly end of the site on the bottom tier, that was designed in that fashion, and mostly because we knew there was work coming on the Riverview Park. In retrospect, we looked at it, it just doesn't look complete to us. So we received bids to go a proposal from K&E Excavating to go ahead and complete it out to the parking lot. even though there may be some in the future, some future day when you do Riverview Park improvements, you may have to, come back in and destroy some of that and remove some of it. We still think that's years off. At any rate, you should be seeing a change order possibly at your next meeting addressing that a further extension of the park. And we think that's within, we're verifying now, but we think that's within the overall allocation that we received from the state, both the legislative award and the grant award. So we'll come back to you on that, and hopefully in September or first meeting in August, hopefully with a proposal to accomplish that. Today we met, Sean and myself met with a team from Albany who was here to take a look at what we are doing out here on the riverfront, including the city manager, their chamber director, their renewal director, and a former employee of our own. So Sophie, an intern of ours, so we were pleased to see her landing a job in Albany. What you say?
Sophie, as an intern.
Yeah, Sophie, an intern of ours. So she was great to have her here. We knew she was going places. She just got there fast. Anyway, we met with them for a couple hours, just talking about all the things we do. They gave a tour of the landing site, and they bought us lunch, and they oohed and awed over all the things we were doing, and trying to figure out how they get to do that in their bigger city. So we'll help you out here. Anyway, I think we'll, Sean and I have talked about this. I think we will probably try to put together something, in this year, this fiscal year, which is sort of is just I don't know if it'll be a traveling road show or something that sort of goes hand in glove with the opening of the hotel, but one or the other, just to talk about the story of how you got here, and how you got to where you got to with this, because it's pretty unique for a community our size to have gotten this far on a project of that scale. So, and that's a 20-year story, and they need to, we need to jump that. So. Sean is working, so I'm always looking at mine and trying to figure out who that is, because I cut and paste some of my stuff. So Sean's working with the School District and Community Services Consortium on evolving our local education and workforce development programming. So that's ongoing. From a financial side of things, the preliminary audit fieldwork begins tomorrow. You will be receiving questionnaires from the auditors. I would stress that you please respond to those completely and timely so they can do their analytical work. It's critical to hit deadlines. I'm going to give you one last one. This one I'm going to end up reading because there's so much of it and I didn't know how to shorten it up, but it's pretty interesting. It's from IT. And so from IT's work in the virtual situation room, something you'll get to get a little bit of another view of in a few minutes. The city was invited to the Oregon Military Department's Office of Emergency Management to assist in integrating local government information into their RAPTOR tool, which is an acronym for Real-Time Assessment and Planning Tool for Oregon. So RAPTOR allows support of emergency responders and the public by sharing information before, during, and after an event. IT will also be demonstrating RAPTOR's capabilities at a city-sponsored emergency preparedness expo this September. The RAPTOR system is currently being used to manage many fires, notably the substation fire. Some other recent events where RAPTOR was key was the 2014 State Route 530 landslide, the 2015 heat, wildflowers, and severe winter storms, 2016 Bernie Sanders rally. I'm sure that was the biggest event they had to deal with. The Donald Trump rally, oil train derailment, Cascadia Rising, Halloween Town event, the 2017 winter storms, solar eclipse, wildfires, and the 2018 City of Salem water emergency wildfires. So I think I just personally think it's pretty a great statement, of how what we're doing gets out in pretty important places and how we get to be invited to the game, in some of these locations and share what we know in exchange for what they know. So, kudos to our team for getting that one done.
Questions for the manager?
Where is Raptor? Is that centered out of Portland or?
It's out of Salem at the.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one question. I've had a couple of questions myself, and I'm curious, why was the sold sign taken off of the sign at Independence Station?
Well, because the idea was that it was available for lease. So even though we have a brewery going in there where there's still available space for other,
I'm not talking about that, because you can see
oh,
where
I'm sorry,
right
the
now.
station, I'm sorry. I'm thinking the old city hall. Again, I think it's because it's available. It's no longer, I think the idea was, and we contacted them and said, look, if you're gonna use available, please add the words for lease, because that was the intent. I'm not so sure why I did Independent Station, because I think they're not locked in as yet, as far as I know, but they are locking in with their prospective tenants. So, but until then,
But
they
the
want to
deal
legally sign up.
itself, the sale of it is closed?
It's been closed
Okay,
for some time.
that's what I thought.
Right. Additional questions? Is this the proper moment, Mr. Klein, to have Sean do the virtual tour as part of your report?
This would be a great time.
Mr. Irvine?
Let me get this down.
While they're putting that together, I'll add something to Mr. Klein's report. I just, as you know, I'm on the gubernatorial appointments to the Regional Solutions Committee. And in the statewide Regional Solutions report, we are the #1, the Independence Landing Project is the #1 project reported from this region in the state. So, good, you all been doing good stuff. So anyway,
Excellent.
Mr. Irvine.
Appreciate the opportunity here, Mayor and Council. As you know, we did deploy the virtual situation room, the Wise Town system with Team Dev over the Independence Day celebration. I want to give you a quick walkthrough just so you see what it was like. I had the easiest time thinking about this similar to a GIS system where you can see a map of the city, and essentially you have layers that you can turn on and off to show different information. So for example, down here, we've got aerial imagery, several different sort of map ways of doing, showing kind of maps of the city, including topography. And then here, this is kind of the interesting one because you've got different things. So staff tracking position, you see the little characters here. Every staff person that downloaded the app and is logged in, this represents their location if they have location services on. And actually this would represent the last reported location once they logged out or turned their phones off. But you can see it's kind of a way to know where people are in the area. The developers pulled a lot of different interesting information, for example, commute times to different hospitals. So you can kind of see that, we turned on the commute time for the Silverton Hospital. It's all pretty much the same for us. There's West Valley Hospital travel times, that one should be not too different. There was some other things. So for example, they pulled police crime records for the July 4th week going back, I believe, about 10 years. And so this was a way that we could kind of look and see pinpoints of different potential problem areas, issues. This was kind of particular to assault incidents. There was also kind of more general category. But so a way for us to be able to look at this and say, where are problem areas that have occurred in the past and where might we want to kind of pay more attention as we're in the event here. We've got water bodies, flooding, kind of all kinds of different information, traffic. This was so we've got essentially a Google type traffic image of where things are moving and where things are not moving. So again, you've got a lot of good information, both kind of static information, but then all real-time information that you can bring to bear on here. The other, zoom in a little bit more here. You can see there's a few different things. We actually had this linked with our IndyWorks app. So if somebody reported something through IndyWorks, it also popped up in our virtual situation room, so we could know if it could be a brush issue somewhere else in town. It's not a big deal, or it could be something that actually relates to the event. So we were able to see it. Over here, this is essentially a list of all of the tasks and issues that came up or that were created. These are things that, like I say, it can either come through IndyWorks or we could create a task ourselves to to assign to somebody. Once we created the task, we were able to assign it to anybody who was on our assignment list. So for example, you can say you create a task here, you go over here, you've got the title of the task, you can describe it, you can say the type of task, the public area trees, vegetation, things like that, priorities. And then over here, you can pick who you want to assign it to. And you can see it's got, they have the number of tasks that they're in progress, number of tasks total that they've been assigned. And so you can kind of keep track of who's busy, who's not. And then you also have it on a particular location. You can actually pick the location on the map. You're also able to look at the individuals and see, how many tasks have they been assigned, what are they doing, or they, obviously look on the map, see where they are. And so it's really just a good way to be able to more easily deploy our resources. Sorry, this is the actual, these were the IndieWorks tasks in particular. These are the overall tasks that we assign to people. So for example, we were doing some things as simple as, if we wanted somebody to come by the command trailer, we would assign them a task saying, hey, come by the command trailer, and they would get it on their phone, so that they would come by the command trailer the next time they were able to do it. The other kind of interesting thing we were able to do with this is we were monitoring social media. For the first time, Independence Days had a hashtag Indie Days. And we have this stream, which is essentially all of the issues that have been created, both tasks and IndieWorks, and also anything from social media. So people tweeted something, and they tweeted with the hashtag Indie Days, it pops up here. And, we could see just that, hey, I'm having fun at Independence Days, hashtag Indie Days, and that would pop up here. Or we might see I just, went to buy the bathrooms, and they're another disaster, hashtag Indie Days. And so then we can actually create a task out of that tweet to, assign it to whoever, take a look at the map, who's close, assign it to them, away we go. So that's really kind of a quick, summary of what this system did. It was a real, interesting process. The developers, one of the company co-founder was here the whole time, and really actually making changes and improvements real time. We were sitting down with them, working through it, and then starting to use it, and going, gosh, I keep trying to do this, and it's not working, or it would be really nice if there was a button that did this, and he just had his computer right there and was able to make some changes in some cases and make, computer refresh your browser. Okay, there you go. So it's really kind of an interesting process. And I think it's a really interesting system. They've actually given us access to it for the entire year. And if we want to kind of keep using it or keep kind of playing around with it. So I think it'd be interesting to have some conversations internally about pros and cons and whether this is something that can be really effective for us and where it might make sense. Questions?
Interesting.
It really is.
Thanks so
We
much.
got a lot of press in the beginning about this.
There you go. Well, they'll come to visit.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on to council liaison reports, and Councilor Linscott's got a couple of them this evening. Councilor?
Maybe about an hour.
Okay.
Okay, I can report. We had a meeting yesterday, and the summer reading is doing very well. And I think I heard Robin say that they have 850 signed up. They have children, teens, adults, and toddlers. The movie fundraiser in March raised over $2,000. The Food for Fun drive brought in more than 1,000 pounds of food for the Ella Curran Food Bank. The 4th of July book sale was $485. And last night in our meeting, some of us ladies are getting together to plan the 15th anniversary of the library in September. You all will get an invitation. Our next meeting will be in September.
Great. And Winnipeg?
Well, we've been really slow because sometimes we don't have a quorum because Steve is very busy and Marshall is out a lot. So what we usually talk about is Deborah just goes over the equipment and some of the tapings that she does. The April production was light, May should be normal. And she said something about no plans to replace or repair the Canon X810, whatever at this time. We talked about a little bit about the budget in April, and Steve was going to check with Monmouth. And we discussed Marshall's replacement. Steve is hoping to recruit from Central, and we should all kind of work and recruit somebody. And we also talked about our meeting time, which is at 12 noon on Tuesdays, because sometimes it doesn't work for Steve, and sometimes it doesn't work for Marshall, so we're talking about it. And we're also working on where is Winpack Bennett. That's our project for the summer, for our next meeting.
Great. Thank you for the reports. Counselor Morton, Heritage Museum.
Yes, and I'm very pleased that one of the museum staff actually wrote the report for me. And as Mr. Klein referred to, on June 30th, the Museum Commission, the Heritage Museum Society, and the city staff met for a strategic planning retreat. Comments and input on the work accomplished, evaluation of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and development of draft goals and objectives were due to the facilitator, Alice Parham, on July 23rd. It says we should receive a final report from Alice. It has been received already. Once the report has been reviewed and accepted, the Commission will provide the Council with a presentation. In the meantime, the Commission has a work session scheduled for tomorrow to revise the museum's mission statement and prioritize identified goals. In addition, the Commission is establishing operating policies for the museum. And I firmly believe this is all a step in the right direction. And finally, the museum will be participating in the Hoppin Heritage Block Party and the Ghost Walk. More to come on this as plans are firmed up.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Moving forward, the next thing on our agenda is you all received from city staff the League of Oregon Cities is a collection of 241 cities, and their policy committees have made recommendations, of which you've received many, 26 of them. They're allowing each city to identify 4 primary areas of interest that they'd like the league to consider as top priorities. Once these have been collected, the board will be meeting in about 2 weeks. I'll be part of that conference call to see what the input is from cities around the state and prioritize the big push in the coming legislative session. So you each have the opportunity to recommend 4 things, and what I thought we could do, if it's so, you've all read the material, and rather than go, how about we just each individually just give us what your top 4 priorities are, and we'll just go down the line here, and let's see if there's commonalities. Does that seem like an okay way to move forward with that? All
Do you
right.
also want the bottom 4? Or
Let's do the top 4. Yeah.
First,
Yeah.
okay.
So, Tom, you're on that end, and we'll just move all this way. Is that okay?
See, my 4 are I, infrastructure, financing, and resilience.
Okay.
M, mental health investments. T, right-of-way and franchisee authority. And BB, wetland development permitting.
Okay.
I had E, broadband infrastructure, I, infrastructure, financing, and resilience, M, mental health investment, and what's the last one? And permanent supportive housing investment.
Councilor Morton.
I have E, broadband infrastructure, M, mental health investment, O, PERS reform, and R, property tax reform.
Councilor Martin Lewis.
E, broadband infrastructure, I, infrastructure, finance, and resilience, N, permanent supportive housing investment, and R, property tax reform.
Councilor Linscott.
I have M, mental health investment, N, permanent supportive housing investment, O, PERS reform, and Q, enterprise-based water resource planning.
Okay.
Program support.
Okay, and for myself, I had broadband infrastructure, that was E. I did I for infrastructure, financing, and resilience. I had M, which was mental health. And I had R, which was, there you go, R, property tax reform.
Lots of commonalities.
Yeah, so we have 4 for 4, 5. Okay, so what we have broadband infrastructure as a 4, infrastructure, finance, and resilience has a 4, and mental health has a 5. Does that seems pretty clear? Is it everybody okay going there?
Do we not need a fourth one?
We need a 4th one, that's what the next one is gonna be.
Okay.
We have either permanent, supportive housing investment or property tax reform. Which one?
I would argue for property tax reform because that underpins most everything.
I think so too.
I could agree with that.
Okay, I think we just did it.
I also want to say there are lots of good things to choose from.
Yes.
It's difficult to choose.
Absolutely.
And I think the thing was that this does not mean the league will not take interest in the others, but some things are just going to, some things just kind of process through, and then some things you put a real push on it. And now that we've made the decision, I'll just make mention, property tax reform has been a key one for, ever since I was president, and it's a huge one. There's a lot of big inequities in the system, it's just unbelievable.
I was thinking about speed cameras on Gun Club Road.
Okay, Councilman Scott, did you have any for the bottom 4? Did you list any for bottom 4?
No.
I did.
Okay,
A, the 911 tax, B, annexation and flexibility, Z, tobacco tax and share increase, and double C, wood smoke reduction program support.
okay.
I think these are going to be all over the board. I had C, auto theft. K, local control over speed limits on city streets. Y, third-party building inspection. And CC, wood smoke reduction program support.
I did F, carbon cap and investment program adoption. W, speed cameras. X, speed limit methodology. And,
Which one was that?
that was
X.
X.
Thank you.
And CC, which smoke reduction program.
Okay, so, all right.
Yep.
And here's where I did. I had one that I wanted to list, wood smoke reduction. So, let's do that. Let's put as our bottom smoke, okay?
Supposed to do this one too?
No, you're okay. You're all right, because we did top and bottom, so you're good. So we'll just list wood smoke reduction, and I don't think there's gonna be a problem with the bottom. Can we make, somebody will make sure that it gets reported, I have a cheat sheet here, if that's okay?
Karen, do you want our cheat sheets to this term?
No, it just, it's just recyclable, staff have it, and I have it scribbled.
Yeah, I got four that you want and the one that you don't want.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate people taking it. It's really interesting when you see the results from literally, 150 some cities turning in. It really, and we get as many votes in this as Portland does. Okay, we're rolling. Okay, council members, I was working with staff, and we're going to have a bunch of extra meetings coming up, and we've also tried to clump things together so that we have full enough agendas. Unless somebody has an objection, would anybody object to not having a second meeting in August? I don't see a need for an extremely light meeting, and we're going to have enough city manager related interview stuff come up. So does anybody have a problem with no meeting the second time in August?
think I could manage to do
You guys okay? Tom, you okay?
I was just thinking, for some reason, I thought at the beginning of the meeting, there was something that was mentioned that might come up.
That'll be
Next
that'll be in the first meeting in August. This is the second meeting in
Okay,
August.
all right.
We good?
I'm good then.
Okay, so we won't have a meeting in the second meeting in August, so, okay. We're gonna have an executive session, and Karen, do I have the script
Oh,
here?
I'm sorry, yes, I have it here.
Do you? I can never remember the citation. The Independent City Council now meet in executive session for the purpose of consulting with the city's labor negotiator. The executive session is held pursuant to ORS 1926602D, which allows the council to meet in executive session. Designated staff only shall be allowed to attend the executive session. At this time, the council will adjourn the conference for authorization of the executive session. No decisions will be made in the executive session. At the end of the executive session, we'll return to open session in the council chambers. So let's adjourn to the council chambers to the conference room and do this. Okay?
well,
I've seen your monitor,
Oh, yeah.
and you know my house.
Oh, yeah.
Following my house.
We good? We good? We're back. Counselors, would somebody like to suggest action? Please.
I would move to approve the 2018 to 2021 tentatively approved Independence Police Association bargaining agreement as presented and authorize the city manager to execute it on behalf of the city of Independence. And I further move to approve the 2018 to 2021 tentatively approved Teamsters Local 324 Public Works Unit collective bargaining agreement as presented and authorize the city manager to execute it on behalf of the city of Independence.
And I second and further second.
Yes, I have a motion and a second, and is there a discussion? Everybody good? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. We're now to announcements. Anybody have an announcement? Okay, you're throwing me for a loop purposely. Any announcements on this side? Okay, somebody send us home.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we're done. Thank you very much.